Hi, welcome to Country Cousins. I'm your host, Paul Ehaw. This is my co-host sitting to the right of me. This is Pastor Isabel Vela.
That's right. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Yeah. How's everything going?
It's going well.
Yeah.
I like this different weather. Sunny really one day, really cold the next day, pouring rain the next day.
Yeah, it's hard to get used to. I mean, it's crazy weather. One day it's raining like crazy, and then the next day it's winds like 25, 30 miles an hour, and you never know what to look for. So one day I've got on a T-shirt, then the next day it's windy, and like today I'm wearing a jean jacket because it was so cold out.
Yeah, I brought a little thicker sweater today, and now
I saw you had on your vest.
Yeah, now I'm really hot. I can't keep up with the weather.
Now you said you just came down from San Jose before you come into the city. How was the weather there?
It was so hot.
Really?
It was so
Usually
bright.
It's cooler up in the Bay Area.
No, the sun was so bright. It was so hot.
Oh man.
It was not good weather actually. Too hot, especially for my sweater and my vest.
Yeah, I had a friend call me up during the week, and he says, "Hey, I just bought a car in Los Angeles, and I was wanting to know if you could meet me there." And I says, "Well, I'm in Bakersfield at the time. Why don't you just come by and get me?" Because he was coming for Fresno. So he said, "Okay." So we had to go to Santa Monica, and I guess there's a little town like about maybe a mile or two from Santa Monica. I've never heard of it before, but it's called Playa del Rey. And so it was a little town, so that's where the car was. So we go there to get it, and so he picks me up, and I just had on jeans and a T-shirt. I wasn't expecting, crazy weather.
Correct.
So we're driving on the Grapevine, and just as we get halfway in between Frazier Park and Pyramid Lake, I hear this rattling on his car.
Oh.
And I says, "What's that noise?" And he's in the left lane doing about 70. Says, "I can't hear anything." So I hear this.
Oh no.
And I'm thinking the worst. And then all of a sudden, there's like, tractor trailers, they like downshift. They're going. So he says to me, is that a truck alongside of us downshifting? And I said, I looked over to the right, and I said, no, there's no truck. But about that time, I smell rubber, and then I see smoke. And he has a hard time controlling the car, and he's swerving. I said, get over. So he goes over, and as he goes over, I tell him, don't hit the brake. I'm screaming at him, and he eases up, and he barely hits the brake. I mean, really good, and we got up against the rail because that could have been a catastrophe.
Of course.
And the whole tire blew out.
No.
It was a shreds.
Way.
And I said, didn't you know that the tire was like that? And he said, no, that's a good tire. He said, I've only had it on there for a month. So I said, okay, no big deal. I said, do you have a spare? So we go to the back, and he doesn't have a spare. All he has is a donut. So, folks, if you're ever driving a car and you're going out of town, don't be dumb and have a donut in your car. Make sure that you have the proper, tools if you go out of town. Have a road flare or some hazard signs you can put up if you break down, or have an actual tire that's full size, like on your car, in your car. I mean, a donut's only good for about 40 to 50 miles tops, and even that is iffy. So I put it on. So we took off, and the donut didn't have a lot of air, and it was kind of flat. So I told him, just leave your flashers on, and we'll take about maybe 45, 50 miles an hour, and just stay in the left lane or the right lane. And if somebody wants to go past us, they'll go ahead.
Correct.
So I said, even the truck drivers, they'll just go around us. So he said, okay. So he had on his GPS the next town was going to be Valencia. And I said, no, I know from experience driving the Grapevine, next town's going to be Castic. So I said, we're only about 5-6 miles from there. So sure enough, he pulled in there, and we pulled in a tire shop, and they put a tire on there. But other than that, I mean, it was crazy.
I never thought of not just having a spare in the car.
You got it.
In my mind, I'm like, oh, if I have a spare, I'm okay. But you're right. Like, especially if you're traveling far, you're traveling through the Grapevine, you really don't want to be going through those type of roads on a donut.
No. If you're in town, it's okay. You can, if you're only going to drive the car in town, you got a donut. That's one thing, because wherever you're going to go, it'll get you there.
It'll get you there.
But the problem was you don't ever want to be stuck on the Grapevine, and cars are flying by at 60, 70, some of them 80 miles an hour.
Yes.
And just the wind alone from them going by, like the big trucks, is almost enough for the car to just blow away, even though it was a heavy car. And another thing too is if you keep a donut in the trunk, always make sure you have the proper air in it, because if it's not aired right, then what good's it do to put it on? Because you're basically just driving on a smaller tire that's flat. So and then the car leans towards the tire that has the donut on there.
Correct. Yeah, you know, one of the things I used to love giving, especially my sisters, because they had children before I did, was those emergency roadside kits, because I had your jumper cables, I had your flares, I had your cones. Those are really good to have.
Yeah. Lucky
really
for him, he had one of those in his
yeah.
car. He had some of those triangles that led up, and he put those out, and he put a couple cones out,
Yeah.
and he said, "I'll go ahead and put these out." And I told him put them way back, because a lot of times when people are driving, they don't actually see you until the last minute. So this way, if it's about 100 to 150 feet back,
Yeah.
then they have time to pay attention before they run up on you. Because I had a highway patrolman tell me one time, statistically, if you break down on the side of the road, whether you're on the freeway or on highway, you've got 20 minutes to change a tire before somebody actually hits you. Because they're either
20
drunk driving,
minutes.
they fall asleep, they look down, they're not paying attention, they look up, and then it's too late, and they run into you. So as soon as the tire blew up, I got out and we started changing it. The clock was ticking. I knew in my mind we got 20 minutes.
Statistically, 20
Yeah,
minutes.
before something happens. So, and that's not good odds.
That's
'Cause if you
not.
think about it, in other words, you got 20 minutes before, statistically, according to Highway Patrol, somebody's going to run into your car because they weren't paying attention. They were preoccupied with something else. They're drunk driving, whatever. So
They're texting, they're messing with their navigation.
Yeah, that's a crazy
something.
feeling. So yeah.
It is.
So we're going to go to a commercial break, and when I
Okay.
come back, then I'm going to ask you some more about your houses that you have
Okay.
to help the people, in Fresno and Bakersfield and in Baja.
All right, perfect.
So we'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Country Cousins, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Paul E. Hall, and this is my co-host, Pastor.
Isabel Vela.
No, I'm just saying
I
it. You're
know. I
yeah.
knew.
Pastor Isabel Vela.
Yes.
So yeah, I scared you. You thought I was
You
Richard
did.
Graham.
I'm like, are you pulling a Mr. Richard on me here?
Yeah. So in case you're just tuning in, we did the show a couple weeks ago, and we had mentioned before we went off the air, she has a basically like a ministry that's in Fresno and Bakersfield and one in Baja, and the one in Fresno is doing really good. And I talked to her a little bit before the show, and she told me a couple things that I thought were kind of exciting for the people there in Fresno. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her talk about what's going on at her ministry that's located there in Fresno.
Yeah, so it seems like we are just expanding. The men there started like a yard cleaning service. And so that is giving them job skills. That's teaching them how to come together and actually work as a team. That's teaching them how to get up early every morning, put their hands to the plow and start earning money. And that goes, depending on how many men go out that day, that gets split evenly between everybody that goes out. And so that gives them a little bit of finances, plus that gives them something positive to do.
Yeah.
The women started doing their house cleaning business, and again, it gets them out of the building, out of the facility. It gets them back into the community, and it's teaching them how to come together, how to work with one another, how to be able to call and schedule appointments, how to do inventory, everything that they need, either that they're going to need for their personal home to know how to do, or just job-ready skills that they're learning.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it gives them an incentive.
It does, because now they're the ones who are actually building this. It's not me. I just say yes and amen and step out of the way and let them run it themselves, because they need to be able to feel like it's theirs in order for them to give it 100.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned prior to the show that one of the councilmen there in Fresno had got in contact with you.
Yeah, Mr. Chavez from District 5. I met with his chief, and she is really intrigued about our program. We were able to discuss what we're doing. She seems very supportive. They want to come out and look at our building. They want to be able to collaborate with us. If they come across anybody in need in our community, they want to be able to send them to us. She was just amazed at the things that we are doing in the community for those in our community. She didn't even know we were there yet, and she was surprised at what our program focuses on. And she herself is a believer, and she was just ecstatic that it was, so spiritual for it.
And that you also too, she probably didn't know that you worked through the court system and try to help people get in there, and then you even write letters to like attorneys and judges and stuff on behalf of the people that are there, your clients.
Yeah, we didn't go into that aspect. We did more for like what we do for. We focus a lot for the youth that are like struggling with problems mentally, emotionally. So we were able to tell her that we have a behavioral program for our youth, where the parents can just allow them to come into our program, and then we help them transition for whatever mindset they're in, right? Instead of them continuing to get in trouble, finding themselves before a judge time after time in gangs, we were also able to explain to her like what we do with the women. We teach the women how to cook again, or if they've never even learned, we teach them basic cooking skills. The men as well, when they come in, we all take turns on how to meal prep, how to actually break down, okay, this is what I need. Even though it seems so basic, right? Grocery shopping.
Yeah, some people don't know that.
They don't know that. They don't know that. I had a young lady who didn't even know how to make pancakes. It's simple, right? You put the mix and you put the water and the butter and there's your pancake. And another one, my 18-year-old, she was so excited because it was her first time making pancakes, but not so much that she was making them, but she was making them with me. She never had a mom that she could actually cook with.
Yeah.
And so those are the moments that come to life there. You get to be for somebody who they always wanted, and just for whatever reason in their life at that time they couldn't and didn't have.
Okay, what about as far as like you said that people have started you told me before the show, people have started donating things to your ministry. Like, what have they donated?
Yeah, so right now, actually sitting in the back of my truck in the parking lot, we have a piano. We have a grandfather clock. So we have clothes, nice. We have dishes, we've had couches come in. And again, even we keep some of those for our building, right? Because we want to make our residents feel comfy and homey, right? But we also, we have a thrift store section in there. So none of our items are over $3. None, right? Because we don't want to be greedy and selfish over something we get donated to us. And if somebody comes in and they're just in need and they don't have the money, then we're going to bless them with that. We're not even going to charge them for that. But also we start building things here, so when the men and women and children in our program start exiting it out and finding their own place to go, then they have something that they can start building their home with.
Yeah,
so they'll be able to pull dishes from here.
Or
they'll
refer
be able
people
to
to donate there.
Yeah, couches or tables or bed sheets, whatever, and they can start building their home.
Yeah. Well, that's funny that you mentioned that, because I know there's a lot of places that even here in LA, they'll get things donated to them free, and then you go in there and you look at their thrift store, and then they've got the same price on that. They've got the same price on there as, like, for example, like if you're going into a store or something. So I'm thinking to myself, well, you got that donated to you. I can't understand why, if that's donated to you, why are you trying to charge full price? I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. I've gone into some of these thrift stores where, like, just an undershirt, right, which is a plain, simple spaghetti strap undershirt. For women, I see them in there for $7.88, $9.99, right? But I can go to Walmart and buy it brand new for $2.88.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
It is. And so my heart would break at that, because there was times when I would go into a thrift store, not because I love thrifting, right? I went in there out of need. And when I would go in there to spend more in there versus new clothes, I was like, well, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right, because most of this is free. I mean, everything they get is free. So that just hit my heart some type of way. So that's why we try to do it different with that. Like I said, if somebody comes in and they're excited because they finally have a few bucks and they want to spend their money on themselves, right? And they don't have enough, then if we see them counting their pennies, we're going to ask them, well, how much do you have? And if they say $1.25, then we're going to say, well, today it's on sale for $1.25, you know?
Yeah.
Because we still want to give them,
yeah,
we still want to give them that satisfaction of being able to do for themselves. And that's a beautiful feeling when you can actually go buy yourself something after so long of not being able to.
Or especially if somebody comes in there and if you're asking, like, oh, just for example, you said $3, so maybe you had $5 on something, they say, I got $4.50. A lot of places, they'll tell them, look, $5 or nothing.
Yeah,
I've seen it where they won't negotiate.
Yeah, no, and everybody knows that whether I'm on site or not, like right now I'm here with you, right? So if somebody goes into the facility, even if I'm not there, they're still going to have them come in, sit down with them, offer them a water, offer them a sandwich, whatever we have available at that time. And if they just see them tired, they're going to give them a chance to just sit down and rest, be able to just get out of the different elements, you know, have somebody to talk to.
Now, besides like the furniture and stuff like that, do you have like clothes donated too?
Yeah, we have men's, women, and children clothes donated to us. We also have people that will donate cash to us via Zelle or Cash App or PayPal, Venmo, or they'll mail us in a check. And then again, that is what because we're self-sustaining. We don't even charge our clients a bed fee, and it's so beautiful, Mr. Paul, because I don't charge a bed fee, right? But we still have the rent, and we still have the utilities, right? And we still have the toiletries, and we still have the food that has to be provided.
Yeah, you have to go by faith.
And you have to. And you know what has been so beautiful? Everybody told me when God gave me this vision, everybody told me, Isabel, you're crazy. They're going to take advantage of you. They're not going to appreciate it. You know, you're giving them for free, and they're going to keep taking. And it has been the contrary. Because they have seen one person right now, and I pray that more of us come together, right, so that they see more of us out here. But they see one person that's willing, out of my own pocket, out of the work that God sends me, to pay for this for them without complaining or throwing it in their face, because they know we're not government funded. And you know what they started doing? They were more encouraged to build businesses for themselves so that they can help bring money in. They were more encouraged to say, this is how much I get on my food card. Can I help with something?
Yeah.
Without even asking, like their heart is being touched and their heart is being moved where they are now giving. And do you know how priceless that is? Because people stopped giving to those in need because they thought they're selfish, they take advantage. And
well, it makes it bad because if one homeless person or somebody that was in trouble with the law, they come in through a program, I've seen it here in LA, they come in through a program, that person winds up that they become like a Freddy the freeloader and they don't want to do anything, then that makes it bad for everybody that's there. Even if you get somebody that says, hey, look, I don't, you know, the system's all screwed up. I mean, I'm not here for a handout. I'm just here for you to try to help me get back on my feet. And if somebody is a normal person and, you know, you really have incentive and some spunk about you, you'll want to get out and do something and make your own money because that gives you like a self-appreciation so where you can tell people, hey, look, I'm self-sufficient. I can make my own money instead of relying on something that you're going to get from the government. And, you know, the government's not always going to be there to give you stuff.
Correct.
You know, they're going to tell you, hey, look, you spent your allotted amount. We don't have any more programs for you. So if you get out, you can always make a dime doing something.
Yeah, you learn those skills that are going to keep giving it. As much as you use them, they're going to keep giving to you, right? So that's why I put both men and women in the kitchen. That's why I put both men and women in cleaning and chores. That's why I put both men and women in paperwork and duties like that. Because at the end of the day, everything that they're learning here, they can turn around and implement in their business that they want to start or keep that as their business and keep it going. So it's just self-growth, you know? And it was just so beautiful. I had a young lady here from one of the shelters here in LA. She called me 2 nights ago. It was 11 o'clock at night, telling me that they threw her out for some personal reasons. And she had nowhere to go. And so, you know, it was a blessing that I was able to go pick her up and bring her in and understand her story, understand where somebody mistook her actions or somebody, you know, did other actions that were not okay in her eyes that made her react a certain way, right? So in our facilities and in our homes that we have rules. We definitely have rules, but my rules, they go by who you are. Right? I'm not going to have the same rules for a mother who doesn't have any drug addiction, alcohol addiction, or anything, but she just needs a safe place to stay. I'm not going to have the same rules for her as in no phone, no going out without accountability, you know, I'm not going to have the same rules for her as I would have for somebody that just got out of prison.
Yeah, some places are regulated so where when they make the rules, I mean, it applies to everybody. Yeah.
But everybody doesn't need the same rules because they're going through different walks in life. I can't sit down and have the curriculum for her that I'm going to have for him and him when one just came out of prison, one's a drug addict, and one is just a mommy that lost her kids. You have to be able to adapt, and you have to be able to meet them in their needs, and like, okay, what is it that we can do for you? If I had one curriculum for everybody, then I'm still doing an injustice to what they're going through, their needs, you know, mentally, emotionally, physically, because you have to be able to meet them where they're at and understand their needs to be able to help them out of them.
Yeah. Now, how's everything going at the Bakersfield store?
So that one is going pretty good. I already have one of the beds filled. So in Bakersfield, we have 3 beds available. And I'm looking to fill them up here by the beginning of May. So,
Okay.
And so that one's our home. That's a home with 2 bedrooms. So I have 2 twin beds in each room for there.
Okay, that's a home. Okay.
That's
and
an
with the
actual
place
home.
in Fresno's basically a storefront.
Yeah, it's more facility. Not
Okay.
it's more like a dormitory. It's not a home. So
Okay.
I
It's like a
bring,
commercial building.
I bring
Okay.
them into Fresno first, and I give them that transition there. We work with them. We help them, and no matter what area they're in life, right? No matter what county, they come to Fresno first. I sit down with them. We counsel them. We mentor them. We meet their needs. We help them adjust what they have to, and then from there, then we can transition them into another home. If they show responsibility here in regards to making your own doctor's appointments, being on your medication, being able to go grocery shopping, simple tasks
Basically
like
being
that.
self-sufficient.
Correct.
Yeah.
If they can grow into that and mature into that here, then we're going to go place them into another one of our homes because they transitioned into that. A lot of our homeless population or a lot of our mental health situations out here, they hurry up and give somebody a home or an apartment or a hotel room, but we haven't broken them free from that mentality of being homeless or of being, you know,
Yeah.
in an institution. So they don't know how to accept that. They don't know what to do with it. Nobody taught them how. So basically, you went from nothing into everything, and now the bills and everything becomes overwhelming, you know, and what do? You don't know how to receive that, so we're it's kind of like we're setting them up to fail.
Yeah, it takes time to transition and all
Correct.
that, especially if they haven't you know, had that in the past.
Yeah. And
So and then you throw everything at their feet, and then they're like, well, I'm overwhelmed. What do I do?
correct. Even the kindness gets overwhelming. I've seen it here in our building. They don't know how to receive kindness. They've gone for so long without somebody being true kind to them that they still are a little weary to reach out and say, okay, can I talk? But I've had the hardest of the hardest criminals come into our program already in this short time and go back out into the world, right? Because you have to be patient with them. Take a hard fall in life again because they left too early, but we can't force them to stay because they're not court ordered.
Yeah.
But they didn't fear to call me back. They didn't fear to pick up that phone and say, I need your help. And that's where a lot of us fail out here. We make it so hard for somebody to come to us because we get tired of their mistakes, right? We get tired of the same circle, the same pattern. They're not getting it right. Man, how many times? And then we just start casting people out of our lives. We stop being there for somebody, right? But I always have in my heart, what if this time I'm reading this person's text, and it could have been the 10th time that I've been around with this person. But what if this one last time they're reaching out for help? What if this is a time? And then I shine them off. Then that just broke their spirit, right? And they
Yeah.
should be stronger, but if they're reaching out, that makes them, you know, they're not strong. But if I were to cast them out, then what happens? You know, I just became like everybody else who got tired of doing good and not be there for somebody.
Have you ever had somebody come in there? Because I've seen this happen where the program that they're in, they tell them, we're going to do this and this, and they tell them the format, and the person says, well, that sounds too good to be true. And then they'll tell the people that are running the program, what's the catch?
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a catch.
Yeah.
Because, you know, somebody like me, I'm a loser, and I don't have anything to give, and then I get somebody like you that says you care about me and you want to help me start over again. There's got to be a catch. Why would you have so much, you know, initiative to try to help me? Well, what makes you the type of person that you are? So where you see me and I'm tore up, and you're going to help me. There has to be a catch.
I get that all the time, Mr. Paul. And for the longest time since I was small, I didn't understand why I would go through the hardships in life that I did, right? If you were to read my testimony, I've been raped, beaten, molested, drugged, attempted to be kidnapped. I've been homeless. I've been a drug addict. I lost my kids to the system. I've been married, divorced. I've been a domestic violence survivor. I mean, you name it. And there's not a walk of life that I have not been down. So when somebody comes to me and they say, why? Why would you do that? What's the catch? What's in it for you? And I get to sit across from them and I get to say, you want to know why? Because when this happened to me, all I remember through all of that is not even crying out to God because I didn't have a relationship with God, but all I kept saying within myself, I just need one person to believe in me. One person not to give up on me so that I could have the strength to do it.
And show some compassion.
Correct. And so I never had that. You know, my mom would beat me all the time. There's times when I wouldn't even be able to sit down, right? And I would try to talk to my teachers about it, but my mom was friends with all my teachers, so they never believed me. So I didn't even have one person to at least release everything to. And as a pastor, it gives me that covering because then they're not afraid to come and talk to me.
And also put you in the position where when you tell them something, you're not telling them something that you made up. You're basically telling them, look, I wouldn't tell you something unless I hadn't experienced it myself.
Correct. And that gives us a connection.
Yeah.
Right off the back, that gives us a connection, and that gives the door, that leaves that door open for us to prevail together. Okay. Exactly for that reason.
Okay. We're going to take a break here, but before we go, if you'd like to donate to the ministry for Pastor Isabel Vela, and you've watched what we've been talking about a couple weeks ago on our last show and this show, then I'll let her go ahead and give you the address, and then you can either go by there if you're in Fresno, okay, or you can drop them a line and go ahead.
So our address in Fresno is 3626 East Ventura Avenue, Fresno, California. And our phone number is 559-667-3608.
And we'll be back with more right after these messages. Welcome back, folks, to the Country Cousins Show. I'm your host, Paul E. Hall. This is my co-host, Pastor Isabel Vela. And we just got done discussing before we went to the break about how you could donate to her ministry. She has one in Fresno. She has a home in Bakersfield that she's just started ministry in. She also has one in Baja, California.
Yes.
So I didn't get a chance to ask her prior to us going to break or when we talked earlier in the studio, but I wanted to ask her now. Have you had anybody in the Fresno County court system reach out to you and say, we've heard good things about your ministry and we'd like to get somebody in there to monitor it, to maybe start sending you some prospective clients, because a lot of the places that we send people to, they're booked up, or we're looking for something altogether different, and we heard about your approach is really good?
Yeah, so we actually work with the parole department, the probation department. We actually have Fresno PD that will bring victims into us also. So they're all tied in with the court. And so anybody that comes out through the court that needs to be in an inpatient program or something, then they'll be referred over to us by one of those agencies.
Oh, good. Have you had a chance to meet anybody, from, like is in a position to, warrant that? Like you met any judges or anything?
Oh, no, not yet. Not here in Fresno County, no.
Okay, yeah. I was just wondering if you had built a rapport with them or something, you could talk to them.
No, not here in Fresno County, not per se in that way, but they do know of our program. And if there's somebody in our program that's court ordered, we do report to the courts. We do build our reports. So whatever they ask of us, CWS also, if there's somebody that's CWS involved in our program, and they're needing us to help them fulfill drug testing or parenting classes or anger management classes, then that's something that we partner up and do that also.
Now, another thing you could do, too, is I know there in Fresno, they have a new chief. His name's Paco Balderrama.
Okay.
You might want to try to get in touch with his office, see if he could come out, or I know there's another guy there in Fresno, I met him before, is Captain Mike Salazar. Have him come out and let him see what's going on there, and maybe he might come in contact with somebody that says, hey, look, they need a second chance on life, and I've seen, how you're operating things here at your ministry. I'll send these people out, or I'll put the word out for if somebody's looking for a place where, they can get back on their feet and, there's no, how would you say it? There's no premeditated intentions of, you trying to get something out of it. It's just you're helping them out of the goodness of your heart, because that's how you feel like the Lord's compelled you to start this ministry. So you're not gaining anything from it.
Correct. Definitely not. Other than hearts and smiles, Mr. Paul. The group of people that we have right now, this Saturday, because Easter Sunday is coming up.
Correct.
Passover Sunday's, Easter Sunday's coming up. But Saturday, it came from their heart. They want to be able to come together, and they want to bake hundreds of cookies. They're not thinking only like 5 or 6, right? They want to bake hundreds of cookies together so that on Sunday morning we can minister out to the streets, those that are in Fresno. Take them a cookie in the shape of a cross and remind them what the Sunday is about. Show them that compassion, show them that love, give them a prayer, give them a cross, and just let them feel the love and the warmth that we've been able to give each other here in this facility. And it's really powerful. If you were to go just spend a whole day with this group, like the different walks of life that everybody is in, right? And they're still so giving. I have a gentleman there that if he sees somebody walking by that's homeless, he'll invite them in. He'll cut their hair, he'll invite them in for a shower. They remember where they came from, and they remember, and now they're turning back and giving back also.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I know that particular section down there where you're at, that's a good place to be in. There on Ventura, that 3626 East Ventura, because I've been there, years ago. We used to cruise Ventura before they said you can't cruise Ventura.
No cruising anymore.
And so that area is good for helping people like that, because most people that live in Fresno, they know that area.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're telling them to go somewhere and they say, where's that located? Just about anybody in Fresno can find that.
Yeah, and it's really easy to find because we are a really big white building, and we have a really big cross hanging from the building. So that's how we direct people. We tell them, do you know where Ventura TV is? Do you know where Castillo's Mexican restaurant is? Because we're right across the street. This is what our building looks like.
And you're not too far from the 41.
Yeah, no.
The freeway.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And so and what's so beautiful is we don't only cater to homeless, right? A lot of people start saying, well, maybe I don't want to go there because it's just for homeless. Well, we don't do only homeless. I think I may have only one person in the program right now that's in there because they're homeless. Others just needed a safe place to go because everybody around them was pushing them to do wrong, right? And they weren't strong-minded to be able to say, I can stand on my own 2 feet and say no to temptation, right? Or they've been abused, or they've been through some type of trauma. So it's good just to come in and get to know and get to listen to other people's stories. And, I have some people that walk in for a cup of coffee in the morning, and they end up staying so long all day that we end up having dinner together also. So, once they come in, they just don't want to leave, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's good to have an environment like that.
Yeah.
Where people feel comfortable.
Of course.
Yeah, and also, too, when somebody feels comfortable, then they feel like they can open up and they can tell you, hey, look, here's my real problems. Then instead of them coming in, they're not that comfortable, then they put up like a facade.
Correct.
So you never know how that person really feels until after you've talked to them for like a month.
Yeah, and again, when I'm not there, like they are just waiting to be leaders. That they just needed the opportunity and the platform to rise and shine. I have, if I'm not there and somebody goes in, they'll counsel each other. They'll teach each other, and they say, oh, look, I took these steps to get my ID, my birth certificate. I took these steps. Let me help you. If they've already overcame, they'll be like, I was there last month, and I couldn't get it done this way. Let's try it this way. And it's just so beautiful when I sit in my office and I'm just listening to them water each other and teach each other and be able to guide each other and mentor each other, and then as new people start coming in, they start learning where to go and how to do it. And so when the new group comes in, they start teaching, and it's just never ending what they continue to give to each other.
Yeah, now you said earlier that you're in District 5 there in Fresno, which is the City Councilman Luis Chavez. I know him personally. So,
oh, good.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, just keep calling, because he has some assistants down there that are they're number one. His assistants,
Yeah.
they'll take your call right away. They won't put you on hold, and then they'll actually give him the message, and he'll call back and just tell him, hey, I'd like you to come out here. And he's one of the few city councilmen they got there in Fresno that'll actually, if he tells you something, he'll do it. You know, and it's like the old saying, like my mom used to say, if your word's no good, you're no good.
Correct.
So if somebody says that they're going to do something, they don't do it, forget it. You don't
Yeah.
want to deal with that person. But if he tells you he's going to come out and he's going to help you, he'll do it.
Yeah.
He's good in that way.
Oh, good.
So that's good that, you know, you've actually made contact with him. So
Yeah.
if you don't hear anything, just call back, because, you know, I'm sure he's busy.
Correct.
You're not the only person in Fresno there that's trying to
No.
get his services or get him to help you.
Of course, of course. And what's good is that he is a people person.
Yeah.
You know, that speaks volume about a person. You know, sometimes when we get to a certain position in life or with a certain title, right, we stop being so much with the people and for the people in a direct contact. But it seems like he's really hands-on. I haven't met him personally just because I'm new to that area in Fresno. But from the conversations that I've had with people that do know him, I've gotten nothing but good things said about him.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was over there, then I was in his district, I used to call him and complain about different things that were going on that the city was shirking their duty on, and he got right on it and it got changed.
Oh, good.
Which is good, yeah.
Good.
The city got right on it.
Oh, good. That's exactly what we need.
Yeah, so it's like the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
That's
if you complain
exactly
enough,
what we need.
if you complain enough, they're going to come
They're
out
gonna- yeah.
because they don't want to get the complaints.
Correct. They're tired of hearing us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll finish up our show here. And I'm your co-host, Paul E. Hall. That's my co-host, Pastor Isabel Vela, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Country Kuzins Show. I'm your host, Paul E. Hall, and that's my co-host, like I've told you before, Pastor Isabel Vela. And we've had a good time talking and reminiscing about old times. And before we finish the show, I'd just like her to give a couple more things about her ministry in case you tuned in late. And she has a ministry in Fresno, Bakersfield, and one in Baja. But we were talking about the one that she had in Fresno. It's located at 3626 East Ventura. And it's in a good section of town as far as like, that's where you want to be if you want to, do the Lord's work and try to help people. And most of the people that come in there, they're sincere and they want to get help. And that's what she's looking for, to try to help them. And she tries to put people back on their feet that people have given up on. And that's basically all somebody wants in life is, hey, I want somebody that's going to believe in me, give me a second chance. Hey, I messed up, and, everybody deserves a second chance. So she tries to get them back on their feet and help them become self-sufficient. And we were talking before we went to the break, and she had mentioned that she takes donations, and she had donated to her today a grand piano and also a grandfather clock. And she's talked about, she also takes cash donations, and she also takes, as far as that goes, she also takes clothing and like bicycles and stuff like that, whatever you want to donate to try to help somebody there. And then they also have a thrift store there, and she tries to keep the prices of the stuff in the thrift store at $3 and to try to make it reasonable for the people there. So I'd just like to let her say a few things before we close the show out. Pastor?
Yeah, I just want to invite you to come on down at any point that you see yourself in your life right now, whether you're at your lowest, whether you're reaching your peak, whether you're at your highest. Just come and see life from a different point of view, from a different set of eyes. Come into a different atmosphere where it's not about what you could physically maybe give, but what you could actually take and receive from those that are around you at that moment, which is that grace, that love, that mercy, that kindness, that gentleness, Everybody needs somebody, and this is like the perfect place to come out and get it.
Good. Now, if you want to give them your phone number one more time.
Yeah, you can reach me at 559-667-3608.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, too, before we close out, we want to give a shout out to our good buddy Richard Graham, who's back in Tennessee. Hey, Richard, we
Hi.
miss you. And everybody asked me, since you've been gone almost a month, have you seen Richard Graham?
Yeah, I haven't seen Richard Graham, but yeah, I talked to him on the phone, and yeah, he's back there in Nashville, and he's trying to get some kind of record deal going, and when he comes back on the next show, he'll talk to us all about it. So yeah, that's Richard Graham.
So, okay, Richard, we miss you, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you on the next show. So take it easy. Until then, this Country Cousins show, signing off, and have a good one.
Bye.